Transit apps. You probably use one. And in this video, I will try to answer the question that has plagued humanity since the dawn of time. Which one is the best? We will be testing these 4 apps: Transit, Google Maps, CityMapper, and Pantograph. Although there were many other apps, I feel these are the most common and the best. Now, without further ado, let's begin. I only discovered Pantograph recently, but I love this app. I love how this app has the vehicle numbers and type of bus and many more pieces of information that other apps simply don't. I also love how this app shows buses' block schedules. Block schedules are schedules for a particular bus all day. This app also is great for being free. I love that this app shows departure times for all routes from a certain stop. Other apps will make you switch between routes to get the departures from a certain stop. However, this ties into things I don't like about Pantograph. Firstly, it requires a bit more work to get real-time arrivals. I know it's being picky, but there's a lot more buttons to press. I also find the graphic design overwhelming sometimes. Pantograph also only works in a very small amount of cities. If they can expand to more cities, it would be amazing. I also don't feel Pantograph is the best app for a regular commuter. I recommend Pantograph for a transit enthusiast. CityMapper is different from all the other transit apps. It feels very similar to Google Maps in terms of graphic design, but provides really great information. One of my favorite parts about this app is that it tells you what the best entrance to enter is. This feature is really helpful if you are unfamiliar with an area. This app is also one of the few transit apps that works on desktop with no download. I also love how this app specifically has wheelchair accessible section for directions. This app is also similar to Google Maps in that it has real-time departures easily available. There's so many other cool things with this app. I could go on and on and on about CityMapper. They even have like a jetpack section. Now, things I don't like. Firstly, the app doesn't work in most places. It only works in major big cities. And that's about it. I really love this app. I recommend CityMapper for directions or just about every... While Google Maps is often seen as an app for walking or driving directions, it also has some great transit directions. By changing your map view to transit, you can instantly see buses and arrival times, and sometimes even live buses. Another great thing about Google Maps is that it tells you your fare for your ride. It does this in most cities, but still not all of them, but when it does, it is really helpful. Another great thing about Google Maps is the amount of transit systems it covers. Chances are, if you live in a city with any sort of transport, Google covers it. Many other apps only cover big cities in the US, but Google Maps does really well in showing many transit authorities from all around the world. It also gives many options for its directions, which also ties into some of its cons. Sometimes, when you're looking for directions for transit, it will tell you to drive or take a lift for like 5 minutes. Why? This defeats the entire purpose! It's transit! I also do not particularly like the graphic design of this app. It is a little overwhelming at first, but once you get the hang of it, it is okay. I recommend Google Maps for someone who rides public transit occasionally. Firstly, we have the app that you most likely have, Transit. I've had Transit for a really long time now, and I really love it. However, lately I feel the app has been going downhill. But first, let's talk about what I like. I really like that Transit shows you all different routes nearby with walking directions and real-time departures. This is especially great if you want to take a different route than usual or are a transit enthusiast. Although it isn't always accurate, I appreciate that they show where the bus is on a map. The graphic design is really nice too. Now, some things I don't like. The first thing is that it relies heavily on in-app purchases. It used to be completely free, but now they make you pay for all the good stuff. If you have the free version, you can only see a couple of routes and the next few departures while with the premium subscription, you can see routes for all day and all departures. Another con is that there's no web version for the service. Another annoying feature of transit is that sometimes it recommends routes really far from where you are. In conclusion, I recommend transit for the smart commuter type of person. So, after all, what is my favorite app? Drum roll, please! CityMapper! This app has so many amazing features, and just is an amazing way to get around. A close second is Pantograph for its bus information and interesting features. But all 4 of these apps are all pretty good, and I kind of use them all for their different features. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.